Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Soy la pastora. I've said that so many times. Okay. Welcome to Grace Covenant. I'm Marcia Mount-Shoop. I'm one of the pastors here. We're glad you're here. We're going to do a little nervous system reset as we get started. And it's not just because our space is really different, but it's because our lives are really different. Our bodies are carrying a big load right now, and every time we're together, there's just this crisscrossing energy that we're all metabolizing together. This weekend was the first time I've left the area since the storm. I went to Davidson to see our daughter for Parents Weekend, and it was like stepping into a different planet. And it was hard. It was hard. I really wanted to get back here quickly, and then we came back through some rain, and that was really scary. So we've all kind of had some things get stirred up this weekend. So I want you to just get comfortable in your space, in your chair. If you're home, wherever you are, just settle in. You can actually do your shoulders up and then drop them and just kind of let your body drop into whatever you're sitting on or standing on. Do that a couple times. It's like a turtle in the shell, and then you just kind of drop. Okay? Do that a couple times. Just let your energy drop down. Now, the other one you can do is you can tighten up your thighs and your glutes. You can flex those and then just relax. Just anything to kind of bring your energy down to the ground. You might also try like crinkling up your toes and then releasing them. You could even take your shoes off if you wanted to. Trying to bring our energy down to the ground underneath our feet. So let's try to do a series of those together. I'm going to start up with your face, and then I'm going to slowly move down here. And again, the point is we're just trying to ground here together, okay? So let's start with your face. Just give it a good massage. We carry a lot of stress in our faces. So act like you're kind of washing your face. Just let your jaw open up. Just let that open up around your ears. That's good. All right. Good. Now let's do that turtle thing again. So you're up, your shoulders are up like you're a turtle in a shell with your in-breath. And then with your out-breath, let it drop. Let's do that 2 more times. In. and down. One more. Okay, now open your palms and imagine you've got some lemons in your hands, and we're going to squeeze them as hard as we can with our in-breath. Make a fist, and with your out-breath, let them go. And just notice the difference between that tension and release. Let's do that 2 more times. In-breath, squeeze those lemons. Out-breath, release. One more. In-breath, squeeze. Out-breath, release. Okay, now we're moving down to our midsection, our core, and you do this how you want to do it. That's your body. You know how it works. You can flex your abs, your glutes, your thighs, but somehow bring some tension to this area with your in-breath, and then release. 2 more of those. In-breath, release. In-breath, release. All right, now we're going down to our sweet little tootsies, our toes. Okay, just let your breath, take a breath and just imagine it going all the way down to the tips of your toes. Now, as your body allows, on that next in-breath, you can crinkle up your toes, you can put your feet together, you can press your feet against the ground, but just bring some tension and energy to your feet. In-breath, out-breath, release. In-breath, out-breath, release. One more. In-breath, and release. Let us worship the one who loves us without end.
Good morning, friends. I'm going to ask you to get a beat going with me here. If you have shakers, you can do those. We've got some baskets around here too. If you'd like a shaker. Now keep that energy, but I'm going to ask you to bring the clap down a little bit, softer. And I'm going to have Mika play through the melody on this. How can we get the words up on the screen? Up to about the middle here. You guys are going to sing with Josie, all right? This side over. You're going to sing with me in the balcony notes. You're going to sing with part 2, all right? All right, here we go.
We're really impressive. I feel like, and I just thought that that's a great introduction to truth-telling because we are really impressive for all sorts of reasons. But that music is part of what grounds us here, that brings us together to recognize that we are in a particular place at a particular time, but we're also with a particular group of community, that we have been called here from so many places, and we're so glad that you're here. As we prepare for truth-telling today, I am going to read you an excerpt from our land acknowledgement. And our land acknowledgement is more than just saying who was on this land before us, but a recognition of all the ways that we are called to repair what has happened on this land and continue to figure out how to repair. So as I read this, I ask you just to breathe it in. And then the response that we'll ask you for is, what are you hearing from the land? How is the land speaking to you right now? So hear these words from our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge our complicated history on this land called Togiatsi by the Fire people, the Cherokee ancestors, and we acknowledge the sacredness in these ancient mountains and in the mystery and majesty of all the wildlife and trees and plants that thrive here. We will continue to deepen our understanding of the harmful history of Christianity and the ways Christians have stolen land from non-Christians all over the world. We remember the harm done by the doctrine of discovery and Christianity authorizing genocide. This history is part of our legacy on this land, but we seek ways to repair the harmful history of Presbyterian participation in chattel slavery, boarding schools for indigenous children, and upholding white supremacy in the ways faith has been lived out. We are grateful for the signs of resilience and resolve in the way this land now grows food and community. I'm going to say that again. We are grateful for the signs of resilience and resolve in the way this land now grows food and community. We will continue to practice following Spirit on unknown paths and believing that we can change and the world can change too. How is the land speaking to you? You can just raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you. Patty up here. And if you're in the chat, if you are online, we invite you to put those responses in the chat and Luke will read them out for us.
I have really noticed as I have driven around and been out and about that there's so much pain and devastation, and yet there is so much beauty. The trees are gorgeous. The colors are incredible. And they are the backdrop to the horrific destruction that we see all around us. And it's just striking to me, and it has really spoken to me.
Thank you.
Patty said what I was going to say. No, just that it feels like the land right now is a reflection of all of what I'm holding, of both the grief and sadness, and like profound beauty of what's happening in community. And like what Patty said, it's both.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kate. Thanks, Kate. Oh. Ben, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes.
What I see when I've just come back from being away for 5 weeks, something like that, and all around I see brokenness, and I see people being open and wanting to help and wanting to share with me. Usually, people are like, no, don't talk to her. She's going to talk forever. Well, that's true, but now people want to hear me and they want to talk to me. And I went to get water yesterday and made like 5 friends in no time. So I feel like the land welcomed me home.
We welcome you
Welcome
home.
home.
Thank
Welcome
you,
home.
Robin.
Yes. Who else?
Well, I was driving to work yesterday to Black Mountain, going through Swannanoa, and what I felt was, I guess we haven't moved to that part of the phase where they start digging everything out and taking all the rubble. So, a month later, it still looks the same. And I was thinking about my friends. I'm moving to a phase of deep gratitude for everything that's happened around me, but I know a lot of people are still in trauma. A lot of people have not shifted. They've got their heads down and they're hanging their heads low and wondering what the next step is. But because I've stepped out and I'm out in the community, I see everything good that's happening. And I'm really battling with myself now today for having empathy for the people who are not living in that gratitude right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've noticed. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Kelly.
you, Kelly. Thank you.
Oh, Lynn?
Sorry, I want to go back to where Patty and Kate were just a minute ago. This hurricane, Yaya, and the changes that it has happened in our environment are our fault. And we would not be having these kinds of hurricanes if we had taken better care of the land and the air.
Sam. Thank you. Do you want to just hand it to Michelle?
I guess I'll echo on that. I didn't want to say something that might be perceived as negative, but echoing.
The truth is the truth.
Echoing the it all exists together. But what worries me, and like Lynn said, is people want to get back to a sense of normalcy, and I agree with that to a certain extent. And what worries me is I hear the fights already of, well, we need the tourism back, and we need this, and it's like, I know that, the economy, it's so huge to even like break it down, but it just makes me nervous that everybody wants to get back to this place that it was before, and it's like, did we learn our lesson? Like you said, we're responsible for this. Have we learned our lesson? Are you going to just go back to the way it was, or are you going to implement some changes to love the land better?
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle.
From the chat, from Amy Weisner, the land is ancient and wise. We humans sometimes get in the way. We get easily disconnected from God's plan for us. And from Margaret Belk, I hear the land saying, don't go back to normal. Build back stronger in honoring me, the land.
I've been watching these geology videos explaining the landslides, and it just makes me feel like there's so much we don't know. We think we know everything about geoengineering and all this stuff, and there's so much we don't know, and I guess I feel like we're small.
Thank you. Yes.
Go ahead, Kat.
It's on.
I see a lot of change. Helene brought to us, like, when we are angry, it's just so much love and support that some places, we don't get that. So being here, it changes us.
Thank you, Kat. And then Blake over here.
To me, I kind of feel like the earth is angry at us, because when I get angry, like, my face flushes and I get warmer, and the climate is literally getting warmer right now. I start to sweat, and then our water levels are rising right now as we get warmer. So I feel like I'm kind of comparing my reactions to my anger to what the earth is doing right now, and there's a little comparison there.
Thank you, Blake.
In the chat, Stacey Hattingham, all the way from Washington State, says, I don't know how to say this, but the land seems to resonate with the land out there in different ways. They had a big rain last night, and she found herself thinking of us.
Adama.
Excuse me. I just want to say one thing because I hear when he said the land is angry. That's what it look like. At the same time, it's a kind of like I'm not gonna say wake up call, but it's like to remind everybody how much we need each other. Mm-hmm. Because I think when the land see us being very disconnected, especially after COVID and all of this, people have been very, very their own zone. Like the man was just saying, when nobody was talking to her and stuff. I see people been living together at the same places for like 20 years and never say hi to each other. But because all of these people started to see each other different ways, and so it's not just happening here, it's happening a lot of places in the world to just remind people how much we need each other. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I think the earth is telling us so much, and to go to, I think it was Lynn, your point of how we're taking care of each other or not. There are some pieces that last week when we see the connections and everything, right? You have the up and down, you get scared, and then you have a smile. And when I heard the thunder yesterday, it was going to rain, right? It was almost like, that's just a reminder. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep, right? Like really focus, stay awake, stay alert, so that I don't have to keep reminding you. And last week, a couple of days ago, I was at Pisgah View asking the kids, what do you need to get ready to start school on Monday? And what I heard was underwear and socks. Because we're throwing them away because we have no way to do laundry. So talk about proximity, right? That's not what our experiences are. So I just want to remind us to stay awake and alert. That's what the earth is telling me.
Thank you. We have two here.
As bad as it was, this storm, I was reminded this week that if that dam had failed, how much worse it would have been. I recall that it was Black Mountain and Swannanoa would have been obliterated. It would no longer be on the map. So I am grateful for the dam and that it was reinforced and that it held. And we're here now, and I'm grateful for that.
Thank you. I think Liz next to you. You're okay?
Anything else in the chat? Okay.
Friends, thank you for stating the truth. And the truth is that there are so many truths that we have to hold in tension at all times. But that doesn't mean that we have to seize up. We have this opportunity to work through the truths of all of it. And we see so many different things here, right, that are symbols of what it means to provide things and offer things. And like Marta said, there are some basic needs, right, that we may take for granted, have taken for granted, will still take for granted. But listening to Blake, I'm reminded of the ways our Indigenous siblings never just thought about today. They were thinking about generations upon generations and the decisions and the actions that we take today and the way that they will affect. So friends, be assured that there is enough for everyone, but we have to be a conduit of that abundance. And there are no exceptions. And you will hear over and over again, we've got too much of this, we've got too much of that. There's actually no such thing as too much. So when we think of having abundant love, having abundance of things, let us remember we need to find people that need those things. That we are being called over and over again to repair the breach, not just in this community, but for generations to come. Amen? So as we stand and sing glory to God, let us stand in the promise of abundant love for all of us.
Now, friends, in the abundance of this grace, let us share a sign of Christ's peace with each other, both those in the sanctuary and folks that are online. Friends, the peace of Christ be with you. And also with you. Amen. God's peace, brother.
Come have a seat. I know, it's really exciting because we have so many snacks now. It's like a smorgasbord of snacks. And someone said, is it okay if I have this? I said, are you hungry? Yes, it's okay if you have it. So we're going to sit over here because I really miss sitting in a circle. And I know it may feel like you all are left out. We're not trying to leave you out, but we're going to be over here. So you're always welcome to join us. Okay, so hello. Hello. I haven't seen some of you in a long time, and I'm really, really happy to see you. So I want to know what has been something you either, we do this all the time in worship enrichment, either you're looking forward to, you're thankful for, or you're worried about. So if you have something like that, and we'll give you the microphone, something you're looking forward to, you're thankful for, or you're worried about.
I have power.
That's thankful, right? We've got power. Good job, Lynn. Yes, Viv. Let's get that one over here. Yes, what are you?
Are you thankful? I don't.
Are you thankful for that horse? That is a really, really amazing horse. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm thankful for our community throughout this, neighbors, our church, all that sort of stuff, supporting each other.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, Viv. Anyone else looking forward to something, worried about something, or thankful for something? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing friends starting school tomorrow. So.
Yeah. It's kind of this reunion, right? Where it feels like it's been forever. It'll be a big deal. Anything else? You've got your horse. That's amazing. So what I want you to remember is all of us are holding all of those things. Things that we're looking forward to, things that we're thankful for. And there might be maybe a longer list of things that we're worried about, but we don't really know how to say them. And I just want you to know, especially as you return back to school, some of you have, but a lot of you are just starting to return back to school. It might be good with the people that you live with to share these things every day. Something you're looking forward to, something you're thankful for, or something that you're worried about. Because sometimes we forget that all of us have those things in us every single day. And if we can say those things out loud, we can hold them together. That's one thing that I think Vivian was talking about, is we actually can hold all these things together. And I can be happy and sad at the same time. Have you ever had that?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're happy, sad? Right? Huh?
Sappy.
Sappy. I love it. You're so sappy. It's like being hangry, right?
That's
Hungry
right.
and angry, like all those things together. But God can handle all of that. And we just want you to know this circle will always be here. It might not look the same. It might not always feel the same. We might miss some people. We might get some new people. But this circle's going to stay here. Okay? And do you all remember right after the storm that I reminded you about this? So I want you to put your thumbs up. That this is just a reminder of how God is so close as our thumbs. And whenever we're having a hard time or we need a reminder, guess what we do? We hold on tight. So anytime, I just want you to put your thumbs out and then hold on tight. And that may be something you even do with the people around you. Maybe instead of saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, which sometimes kids don't want to say that when they get dropped off at school. You could just put your thumbs up and hold on together to remind each other how much you're loved and cared for. So let's hold on to our thumbs and say a prayer together. Dear God.
Dear God.
Dear God.
Thank you for so much.
Thank you for so much.
For the things we're looking forward to.
For the things we're looking forward to.
The way we have been surprised.
The way we have been surprised.
The way we have shared love.
The way we have shared love.
As we look forward to the week.
As we look forward to the week.
Help us to remember.
Help us to remember.
That you hold all the things.
That you hold all the things.
That we're worried about.
That we're worried about.
That we're happy about.
That we're happy about.
That make us tired.
Make us tired.
We thank you for your love.
We thank you for your love.
And we thank you for this community.
And we thank you for this community.
And all the ways it shows up.
And all the ways it shows up.
Amen. Anybody who wants to come and hang out and play can come with me now. And then otherwise you can go back to your parents, okay?
Let's sing our prayer of illumination together. God, can you put listening up?
Where did I put my glasses? Somebody else read this for me. You want to read the scripture, John? You're voluntold again. It's part of being the preacher's spouse. Bartimaeus is the name. It's right here, Mark 10.
Mark 10, verses 46 to 52.
Is it on?
Yes.
Okay.
To Jericho, as he and his disciples and a large crowd were leaving Jericho, Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, a man living on the edges of the economy, who also could not see, was sitting by the roadside. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout out and say, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many sternly ordered him to be quiet, but he cried out even more loudly, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stood still and said, "Call him here." And they called the Bartimaeus, saying to him, "Take heart, get up, he is calling you." So throwing off his cloak, he sprang up and came to Jesus. Then Jesus said to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" Bartimaeus said to him, "My teacher, let me see again." And Jesus said to him, "Go, your faith has made you well." Immediately he regained sight and followed him on the way.
Thank you. Thank you. So this reading is one of the readings that the lectionary invites us to today, which happens to be Reformation Sunday. So this is the day that we remember the Protestant Reformation. And we celebrate, the narratives that we like to hold on to through history about the good parts of the Protestant Reformation. We're celebrating protest. We're celebrating resistance. We're celebrating speaking truth to power. We're celebrating trusting God enough to let institutions unravel and to let the way we've always done things change. So those are all things we're celebrating in the Reformation. But we're also being called to remember the nuances of where we come from. Okay, this healing story that John just read about Bartimaeus, who in some translations of Scripture, Bartimaeus is referred to a beggar as a beggar and as someone who was without sight. physically without sight. So Bartimaeus lived on the edge. Bartimaeus was deeply dependent on the people around him. And he needed to lean into community. You can have all kinds of different interpretations of what healing means in the Bible, but we've all lived long enough to know that it's not always what we expect it to be. But that somehow Bartimaeus was called to come closer to love, to come closer to the one who didn't blame him or didn't shame him or didn't try to erase him, but said, I want to know you better. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what support looks like. I want to know you. I want you to be in proximity to me. And in a sort of idealized sense, that's what the Reformation was about, is that our relationship with God should be more immediate. We shouldn't always have to depend on an institution to mediate that. It's human to human. It's person to person. It's arm in arm. And really that's the main thing Jesus was trying to tell us, is God has flesh. God's love is got bones and cells and muscles and ligaments, and it moves and it stretches and it embraces and it hunkers down and it comes alongside. And so the Reformation was saying, to the powers that be, like, people should be able to read Scripture themselves. It shouldn't always be in Latin. They should be able to understand it in their own language. And if they can't read, they should learn it through song and be able to really internalize it. It's theirs. This is the people's book. It's not just the church's book. And the Reformation also said, we shouldn't have to just do what one person says, the Pope. We should come together as community. We should be able to make decisions for ourselves. We want systems that are about sharing power. And that's how the Protestant Reformation really was born. It was about sharing power. Now, just like all humans, institutions do, and all humans are wont to do, we lose our way. We forget sometimes where we come from and what the whole point of it was, and so we can get really attached to our institutions again and the power that they wield, right? We can get really attached to the way we do things and think they're God, And the whole point of the Protestant Reformation was it was a disruption of idolatry, that the church itself had become an idol. Now, I wonder if, again, we've been through so many disruptions of institutional church these last several years. I think we've seen some ways that we cling to institutional religion and mistaken it sometimes for God. I think the whole moving of the pews, it revealed some of that you can't have church without pews. That was something some folks really felt strongly. And now I know why we took out the pews. It was something that we knew we needed to do for lots of reasons, but we didn't know this one. And now we know. We needed room. We needed room to be able to reform, to transform, to come closer, to be in proximity, to have skin and muscles and ligaments on our love, to be able to really hunker down when things get hard. Now, we can look back in history and we hear the stories, we tell the stories, and we can think, all these reformers, they were so brave, Calvin, he scaled a building with a sheet to escape Paris because they were going to kill him because he was questioning yay, Calvin, he was so brave, And then Luther, he had to flee. They were going to excommunicate him. They were probably going to kill him, and he hid out and, rode in this dark place and wherever, oh, yay, Luther, he was so brave, But both Luther and Calvin, when things got settled and they kind of had their new lane that they were in, they forgot some things about what protest is really all about. And Calvin got a little persnickety, and Luther just got downright nasty. But Calvin, he started being really judgmental about who should be able to lead and who should not, who should be welcome at the communion table and who should not. And his whole dream of Geneva was a theocracy. His dream was that the religious leaders would rule. Now that should make your blood run cold. And we're seeing right now how wrong that can go. Right? And then Luther got the people all riled up. They got so excited about what Luther was saying. Faith alone, grace alone. You are a child of God. You have direct contact with God, and power to the people, is really what people heard Luther saying. And then when the peasant class rose up and said, we need bread, we need resources, we need wages, we need homes, you know what Luther said? That wasn't what I was talking about. Let them die, is basically what he said. So when we start as people of faith to gather and we use this lofty language of moral courage and beloved community and what are our other things? Theological curiosity and abundant compassion. When we use these lofty words and we're not willing to do this or to do what we're doing every day with rent support or to change our lives in the wake of a natural disaster, if we're not willing to do that, then let's get rid of these T-shirts. The words don't mean anything. And our Reformed ancestors tell us a cautionary tale. Because when things start reforming, it's kind of like the mudslides, Once that thing's going, it's going to change a lot of things. And some things are going to be lost. And things are going to look really different. And there's going to be pain. Right? Yeah. And so Reformation is painful. It's painful. It puts you on the edges. It puts you on the margins. It puts you out of the center of power and influence. It takes things away from you. If you were somebody who kind of was doing pretty well with the status quo, yeah, it's going to be a lot more complicated. It's going to be a lot more uncomfortable. But the whole point of this idea of the church reformed and always reforming is that the church is not God. And that the church is not even the thing that we should be most concerned about in terms of how to preserve it, how to take care of it. And so there is a disruptive quality to Reformation that I believe mainline Protestantism lost track of in America. Because when Protestant founders came to this country, what did they do? What did they do? Anybody? Yeah, thank you. Genocide. They killed people to get them out of the way. They enslaved people to make sure that they made a lot of money. They wrote the rules and the Constitution for people that look like them, white male landowners. So they didn't really come with a reforming spirit. And it's still going on. Thank you, Sade. It's still going on. So they didn't really come with a reforming spirit, but they came with the human impulse to get out from under the thumb of a nefarious, kind of power-hoarding ruler. And instead of disrupting that kind of, impulse to then put somebody else in their place, they created institutions that took the place of that. And I believe that's why we always flirt with this impulse to get a strong man in the White House, to have a fascist there. There's still a part of us that's like, maybe if somebody's coming to save us. When it's really, it's us. It's the people. It's we the people. And again, it's no coincidence. We didn't know why our theme was We the People this fall, just like we didn't know why we were taking out the pews. It's no coincidence that that's where Spirit called us this fall. We the people. We the people. Now, I'm sure all of you all are feeling the tightening vice grip of this presidential election that is days away. Let's do a collective sigh. It's coming, y'all. It's coming. And we don't know what's going to happen. And it's probably not going to be easy, no matter what. And no matter who becomes the president of the United States in this election, this country is in need of deep reform and transformation. And yes, there will be some relief when we can just get through this step that we take together. But really, the work, that's never going to end. And I know that can feel really exhausting and really demoralizing. And it's why institutions are not good at reformation, because it's exhausting. It's exhausting. But if you've had an opportunity to come any day of the week and be in our supply site and be a part of what we're doing right now as a church in the wake of Hurricane Helene, then you see that exhaustion is also met with some profound gifts of the truth of really being with other humans that we may or may not have had proximity to or been in right relationship with. To truly build new relationships, new friendship, new community. We are in the midst of reforming. If you look around this room, there's some familiar faces and there's some new faces. There's some old friends and some new friends. There's some things we have to let go of, and there's some things that we need to grab hold of as we move into this new time. So the celebration today of our Reformed heritage is that we are heirs to protest, resistance, and the hard work of what it means to trust God when things are unraveling at a rate that we hadn't anticipated. That's our spiritual DNA, is that trust of the way Spirit moves when the speed and the vortex and the power of change really picks up speed. And that might not sound very encouraging to you. You might need more right now. Something more sweet or something more reassuring. I guess what I have to offer you, Grace Covenant, in terms of reassurance, is that I am seeing every day what can happen when we really do trust God. And I don't know how it's all going to work out, but if you'd asked me a month ago that we could have done what we've done so far this last month, I would have said, I'm not so sure. I mean, that's a lot. $230,000 in rent support in 20-something days? How could we do that? How could we do a sanctuary full of supplies that just continues to replenish itself? How could we do that? How could we welcome in hundreds of people every day, many of whom don't even speak English, and build community? That sounds really impossible. And yet we're doing it. We're doing it. And somehow, some way, I'm sure Calvin and Luther said the same thing to their people. We're doing it. I just hope that we can stay the course and not get grumpy and nasty when things settle back down and start to hoard things for ourselves. That's why I will never settle for us to do our work up here. We always got to do it down here and in here. That's why we've been doing it this way. And that's why we're not going to stop. Thanks be to God.
Friends, as we prepare for a time of prayer, let's join our voices together in song. Lord, listen to your children pray. Lord, send your Spirit in this place. Lord, listen to your children pray. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. Lord, listen to your children pray. Lord, send your Spirit in this place. Lord, listen to your children pray. Send us love, send us power, send us grace. What are the prayers of our people today? What's alive in your heart, in your body? Raise your hand if you have a prayer request, and we can get a mic to you, and we'll be keeping an eye on the YouTube chat as well.
Prayers that joy that Keol is with us today, and prayers for you and your healing.
Prayers for Stephanie to feel strength and to feel love. Prayers for a dear friend who is a nurse and a young person who is on hospice.
Prayers for Linda for healing. Prayers for all the students going back to school who aren't feeling so good about going back to school.
Prayers for the upcoming election.
Prayers for the Davis family who lost their home, and prayers of thanksgiving for the band and the joy that it brought the kids yesterday.
Prayers for Sam and Jerry as they empty out their daughter's apartment in New York and head back this way. And also for all of us to stay awake.
Prayers to all my family in Mali and friends who have been experiencing some flooding back home there right now. So prayers to all the children there.
Prayers of thanks, not only that Robin is here, but that Robin doesn't have oxygen today.
Prayers for Rebecca, and prayers for my friend Emily's aunt who lost everything in the hurricane and then had to put her dog down like the next day. So
We have prayers for the empty desks that will be confronted tomorrow. Prayers for students and teachers. Prayers for Pamela Culp as she continues to work hard and regain strength and abilities. Prayers for Donna. Prayers for Trina. For the Latina community that are being turned away from aid and support. Prayers for the Trent family. For all those I have been talking to all night, that the storm would become the first step in healing.
Prayers for Terry Peck's family, whose funeral will be on Wednesday.
Prayers for those who are still traumatized whenever they think rain is coming again or the wind.
Prayers for Dakota, for Emery, and prayers of celebration for the life of Bill Rupp, who graced this community with love and caring for so many years.
Prayers of gratitude for my brother Mike, who took care of me for a month and who's on his way back to Virginia today for safe travels.
Yeah. We have Melissa Shook saying amen for Robin's return. She has been missed and prayed for. From Libby, prayers for my family. And also a prayer of thanksgiving from me for Keola's oncologist. We are very thankful for him.
Prayer, I don't know if Amy Kim, did you say the Trent family? I don't
Yep.
know. Okay, great. And then also Donna Landis is getting surgery this week, so prayers for Donna.
Also prayers for our staff, that we will take care of ourselves as we are taking care of others.
Just an awareness as we realize that so many people in this country and around the world are going through their own private, public disasters, catastrophes, and therefore can't really reach out. And they don't really know what we're going through. And that's hard. That's hard on our hearts. Feels hard to not be seen, and yet we don't always see them. So, prayers for strength.
Let's sing once more. moment as we share a moment of quiet for the prayers we don't quite have words for yet. Amen. Will you take a deep breath with me? Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Well, good morning again. As we've been doing since the storm, we're going to just share information as a community before we sing our closing song and depart. I want to welcome you again to Grace Covenant. I'm Marcia Mount-Shoop. I'm one of the pastors here, and the whole staff and all the leadership of the church is just so grateful that we're here worshiping together, and we hope you'll find ways to connect. I want to invite our ushers to come forward now and receive our morning offering. Let me say a few things about our offering this morning. If you don't indicate anything about the offering, it just goes to our general fund, which of course we appreciate. If you want your offering to go to our hurricane relief, that needs to be indicated. And this should have been our last Sunday of our stewardship campaign, and instead next Sunday will be the first Sunday of our stewardship campaign. So, and I just a little teaser, maybe spoiler alert. We're going to just tell you to just pledge already, for goodness sake. We just got to get this done. So be on the lookout for that, and that will be coming next week. We do hope you'll connect. If the ushers could also, when they're done with the offering, pass around the connect pads so we can greet each other by name. We do have a few announcements, and then I want to say a few more things about some of the things we prayed for today. Our supply site remains open 7 days a week from 12 to 4. Now, the only reason we can keep doing that is because we've got volunteers, and we could use some more volunteers. If you get here at 11:30, there's a meeting where we sort of orient to things, and every day it's great if we can have a critical mass of people at that meeting, so we're building a culture here around how our supply site works. If you get here later, we are happy to have you. In fact, we'd love to have a new group of volunteers get here around 3 o'clock so that our people who've been here for several hours could get a break. And we still have things to do. We say 4 o'clock, but it doesn't really end at 4 o'clock. We're still getting people's things in here, and we're still dealing with things, and we're still here till about 5 o'clock. But we close the doors at 4 o'clock. And we don't want to close the doors before 4 o'clock. We want to close the doors at 4 o'clock, but in order to keep the doors open to 4 o'clock, we need more volunteers that are here at that time of day, because some of our folks are getting tired. I mean, it's a long day, and we'd love to have a fresh, it's like, when you second half of a rugby game, you put in a whole new bench or something, they're fresh. So please help us, and you don't need to be a part of the Grace Covenant congregation to come here and volunteer. People are coming from all over the place to volunteer. The other thing we need help with is you can see that things are getting depleted in here. And a lot of sites are closing down. And so more people are coming here to get stuff. And more sites are going to keep closing down. I anticipate that people are going to need this sort of free grocery store atmosphere for a couple of more months. People have not worked. They have not made wages. They're not able to just go to the grocery store. You have to think about it that way. They haven't worked in a month. And so they're not going to be able to just hop back in and pay all their bills and get groceries and things like that. We do have some items that are needed, and many of the bigger warehouse areas that store supplies are happy for us to come get things to have here at our site because they might not have as many people coming through, or they have more storage space. But I want to just name that we are almost out of water. We need more water. So, and you all remember how much water we had. It's gone, and so we're looking for more water. We already pretty much cleaned out the Eddington Center of their water because they say they didn't have that many people coming to get water. We are also running out of some of our cleaning supplies. Our paper supplies go very quickly. This list has other things on it that I hope you'll take, but we really do need help with the water. And it's your choice. If you want to go look for some free water somewhere, great. If you want to buy some water, great. You can just bring it and leave it outside at any time of day or night. So I'm going to leave these here, and you all can come and get them and help us out with some supplies and volunteering. Monday through Friday are the days that we do rent support. And as I said in my sermon, we've already paid probably well over $220,000, $230,000 in rent support. We are sitting on over 200 more requests just for October. The average rent we're seeing is between $1,000 and $1,500 a month. So you do the math. We need at least $200,000 more dollars to fulfill these requests. I've been filling out grant requests. I've been talking to the governor's office. I've been talking to the city and county officials. I've been talking to private funders. I'm beating the bushes, and we need some bigger money. Not just us throwing our stuff in. We need bigger money. So if you all know of anywhere, I even wrote LeBron James. I've told some of you that. So I think it takes a village. You all might have some ideas. You might know somebody. You might know somebody who's really looking for a way to make an impact. I want you to understand that what's different about our rent support than Eblin Charities or some of the public sources, yes, the public sources of funding are, we're not asking for a Social Security number. We're not turning people away. We don't have a minimum. We are talking to people on a relational level about what they're going through, and we're trying to meet them there. So for undocumented folks, FEMA, Eblin, public fund, those aren't an option for them. For other folks, that's not an option for them either. We've got a lot of people coming through our doors who went through the whole FEMA process. They stayed online, held for 10 hours, and they got denied. Nobody knows why. Yeah, happened to some people in this room. So I'm just saying, you guys, the needs are great. And again, it's not something that we, Grace Covenant, can do by ourselves. We've gotten some grants from Community Foundation. Hopefully we're going to get one from the United Way. We got a bridge grant. But these are like $25,000, $10, $10,000. Those are gone in a day. Those are gone in a day. So spread the word. The need is great. And there's a uniqueness about what we're doing here that is a need that's not going to be met by some of the other things you're hearing about in the news, the big $1 million things that are coming. We need the money yesterday, not in a month. Yes? Let's get a mic to folks that have announcements.
You know what? I've been sitting out in the front. And the other thing I want to add is people are scared about what to share. Like when I ask questions, they are, and they're pretty, simple, I think simple questions, and they're afraid. They're afraid for it to be written down. And so just know that these are people that are very vulnerable.
Yeah. And people that no matter what the assurances are, they're not going to go to a governmental agency, even if you say, well, if your kid has a Social Security number, you can do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. Here, let's get a mic to. No, oh yes, you do for the people at home. They can't hear you. But then we'll get back to Tammy.
It's also not only are they. It's
Talking
not.
so
Oh, sorry. It's not just being scared. As an African American woman, it's sometimes it's where your address is. People get turned away because they live, in certain places. People get turned away. Just out of anything, the way you look or where your address is or what, Like it's really sad. And for African American women, a lot of us don't come because of the pride. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be turned away because it's shameful, so it's hard.
Yes, it is. Thank you. And creating a place where it is safe to come and just talk it through and not have to be scrutinized like, well, where are your pay stubs and where's your this and where's your that? Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's like that everywhere. If you make a little bit over a certain amount of anything,
Mike.
it's over.
Yeah.
It's no more government assistance. It's no more government assistance. It's no more anything. It's over. As soon as you make a penny above anything, it's over. And then they look at you, like, why are you here? You make you can afford it. Because you got a penny over.
Yeah.
And it's I'm sorry.
Right. No, it's exactly right, Sade. And again, certain charities and groups have restrictions with their grant money. It's not that they're just trying to be like jerks or something. They have grants and they have to do the things the way the grants say. That is the philanthropy machine of our country. And so they can't give, if you're not under a certain level, if you don't hit the federal poverty line or below, well, the federal poverty line is really low. You can be above the federal poverty line and not be able to live. So these are all things that our center takes into account. And, we're just seeing that the weight of that is real. Tammy.
Yeah, so to Sade's point, one of my most profound experiences here in helping Marsha do the rent support is overwhelmingly Black people who come through these doors are apologizing for asking for help. That has been my experience. And just a reminder that we learned some of this during COVID, that it just revealed, right, all the racial disparities. And so Helene is doing the same thing. So people who are already under the gun, who are already struggling the day before the hurricane, are even more impacted now. But I can't tell you how many times I've had a Black body person sit in front of me and say, I'm so sorry, they don't want to ask for help. And so to Marsha's point, if we are the church, if we are embodying the love of Christ, they should feel that rather than the judgment. And I feel for the most part they do. But I will say for those who volunteer, it's really important if you come, if at all possible, to come at the 11:30 meeting so that you can start hearing and kind of understanding the culture, right? And what we're trying to shift in this space. Yeah. Because what happens is people who are really well-meaning and loving, kind people come with all of their judgments when they come in this space. And the way that they resource people varies, right? Based on how they feel about giving, receiving, like all those things are a part of that. And so we've been trying to practice the spirit of abundance rather than scarcity, to give people what they need, not looking at what's on the shelf and saying, oh, we only have 2, I can only give you 1. Give them what we have, and then it shows up at the door later. That's God's economy, because God provides for God's people. The other thing is, if you do bring water, please bring it under the ledge of the building, close to the building, because water becomes toxic if it sits in the sun. We've had some cool days, but the warm days, it really just poisons the water, right? Because plastic transforms the water, and it makes it toxic. So bring it forward. Sade, I really appreciate your voice in this space, and I thank you, GCPC, for being the type of congregation that can hold this kind of pain.
Amen. Amen.
Because this is not every congregation, and this is why Sade is here, because Sade felt that day one. So, and there are other people that will be coming, and they're not going to look the same, right? So, because I really feel like when people feel love, they're attracted by the love. And if you notice, you're starting to see different places, different faces in this place. I am. It's because of the love they're shown out there that they're coming in here. So I want to thank you for doing your best to embody love, because it's hard for us to change these practices that we've known all of our lives. And this idea of giving and receiving and money is a hard one, because we've been taught so many things about what it means to give and receive. But the work has been amazing. As a Black woman, I will say for me, it's been very healing to witness. And this one right here, she just loves everybody. And she's boom babying all day, and we love it. We love it. We love it. I'm so grateful that Liz is at that front door, because she sets the tone. She sets the tone, and so it makes it easier for people to walk through the threshold, to fill out the form, to come over and see Barsha and myself or whomever, because Liz is showing them love. She is meeting them at the door with love. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yes. It's on, just keep going.
I thank you so much. My mother-in-law died last weekend. Thank you so much for praying for her. I just wanted to say that she died before she was able to vote. And she was a naturalized citizen. She grew up in Holland and the Netherlands. And so everyone who hasn't voted, if you could please just go today. Just would really appreciate everyone getting a chance to vote, because the stakes are just incredibly high.
Yeah.
And please tell everyone, you can feel free to use this story. She died a very unfortunate, very rapid respiratory death, and it was very unfortunate. But please tell everyone you have to bring an ID. I don't think it's a good policy, but make sure they don't forget it. And then if everyone could vote early, just to make sure that there aren't any complications, because we had absolutely no idea that she would die before the election. So,
thank you, Lisa. We are praying for you. So sorry. Yes, thank you. A good message, a good reminder. Are there any other announcements before I get to, yes? Where's the, oh. I don't know what happened to the other mic. Oh, you got the mic. Okay, there you go.
So Shada is my voice. So I'm an example. So Monday, I went to get help. The first place that I went to was Evelyn. Of course, Evelyn they have moved, and I did not know that until I got the address. So I went there about 8 o'clock that morning, because you don't know how long the line is going to be. And so when I finally got in, I was like, are you helping? It's certain things there they're helping people with. So they turned me down. So they was like, well, you need to go to DSS. I went to DSS, riding by. Do you know that line was just wrapped around twice around the building? So and I was like, I can't just stand in this line all day long. So later on in the afternoon, I went to ABCCM. Same thing. I can't help you until November 1st. So what are we supposed to do then if we have to wait a whole another month? So I'm going back home, trying to figure it out. So
We got you, Kat.
Thank you.
We got you.
So that is the example.
Yes, thank you. All right. There is next Sunday. Is next Sunday November 3rd? Yes. Next Sunday is All Saints Sunday. When we remember the folks who've died in our congregation in the last year. We will read their names. We will light a candle for them. But you can also help us remember anybody that you love who's passed away. If you want to send a picture to us at prayer@gcpcusa.org, we can share those pictures during worship. We'll have an opportunity for you to say names out loud as well of just people that you're remembering on All Saints Day. Also next Sunday at Land of Sky, the Many, a band that's written some songs that we love to sing here, is coming to town for a space to lament together. And that'll be at Land of Sky. And what's the time on that? 6 o'clock at Land of Sky. We hope you'll... Okay. So hopefully you can join us for that at Land of Sky. And I think they are taking up an offering at that, and part of that will help our supply site. Any other announcements that have not been made before I talk about some prayer concerns? Any other announcements before? All right. You got anything?
Just as we prepare to leave, I know we got a few more things going on, but if we're going to stay in commune with each other, which is something we need so desperately, if we could do it outside of the sanctuary, because our volunteers will start working in here, especially this open area over here, having that gummed up just makes things take a little longer. We want you to stay. We want you to take care of each other over there.
Okay. Thank you.
Has anyone heard that the CMA Awards are coming to Asheville, the Country Music Awards?
I haven't heard that.
Okay, so yeah, they're coming to Asheville is what I was told this morning. I just want to know if anybody else has heard it. So those of you who do a little research and find those kind of things, you do all that pop culture stuff, see if you can find out, because we need them to bring something here. All right, here we go.
Thank you, Tammy. That's what I asked the governor's office. I said, does the governor know Taylor Swift or Beyonce? That's what we're needing right now. Okay, so a few of our prayer concerns that were brought up, I just want to say a little bit more so we know how to pray. First is for our dear Kayola. Kayola, we're so happy to see you. But Kayola is she's in for a big push here to address this cancer. And so you were at the doctor, you're getting a port, you're getting started, and that will all be underway. So we need to just really wash Kayola in a lot of prayer this week. This is a big week. And Kayola, we're with you. We are going to be with you. We're going to feed you. We're going to hug you. We're going to do whatever we need to do, but we're with you. Is there anything else you wanted us to know about how to pray for you this week? Okay. We love you. Donna's surgery is this week, and that is going to be tomorrow. And so we will, be praying, Donna, that everything goes smoothly. This is a procedure that was supposed to happen before the storm. So we're just prayerful that everything goes smoothly and that this can be a way to get some relief for you. We're praying. Yeah. So Stephanie Yeomans, did Stephanie leave? She's with Carol. Okay. So Stephanie is here, and she asked me to tell you all more about what's going on with Stephanie. You may know that Stephanie's normally here with her adorable little son, Declan, who is just turned 11. And Stephanie co-parents with her ex-husband. During the storm, Declan happened to be at the ex-spouse's house. And since the storm, that ex-spouse has not allowed Stephanie to see her son. And so it's just kind of been a really, as you can imagine, gut-wrenching situation. There's now lawyers involved in all the things, DSS, everything, but it's very painful. So Stephanie needs our prayers. This is going to be, as she put it on Facebook, the battle of her life. And we just pray for Declan too. We don't know what is happening with him and what he's being told and what. So just pray. And Stephanie brought her vulnerability here today with us, and I just really want to wrap her in prayer as well. I also want to lift up Susan Mims and Bill Rupp's whole family. I was able to be at the burial this Friday, which was a green burial out at the Carolina Memorial out in Mills River. And I have to say, it was the most beautiful burial I've ever been a part of. Just, you know, I can't go into all the details, but it was a beautiful moment of returning an amazing soul and spirit and body back to the ground. And we did that together with our hands, with dirt, with sticks, with rocks, with poetry, with song, with silence, with tears. And it was a beautiful thing. So please, surround Susan Mims and her whole family. Some of you may know that Susan's son, Dawson, is a first responder. And so he has been out there digging people out of the mud, literally. And to witness him returning his grandfather to the ground and covering his body with dirt just felt like so sacred. And so just want you all to hold that with the family as well. It was a beautiful time. There are probably other prayer concerns that we don't know about, but there's another one that I want to lift up, and that is housing. Trying to find housing for folks in the wake of the storm, people who cannot get approved for a lease because they're in recovery or they have something on their background check from 7 years ago or whatever. It's an impossible situation for some people, and it's gut-wrenching. So please pray for something to shift in our community around housing, because that is a huge barrier that we are experiencing. And I'm praying for all of you and for all of Western North Carolina. It's more than we can put words to. So let's get in our circle again, Ray, and I know you have something you want to teach us.
Yes, as we're getting in a circle, I just wanted to share. Those that have volunteered in here know that there's often times, and a lot of the people we deal with do not speak English as their first language. And Marcia reminds us every day at the 11:30 meeting to really think, to see through the eyes of the people that are coming here, and that people of color that are coming into a very white space, and people that don't speak English that are coming into a space where most people here speak English. We are very fortunate to have had some wonderful translators working with us, but there are times when many of us have to interact with people that we don't speak the same language. So at first it can feel a little uncomfortable, but leaning into that, it really can create some beautiful moments. And so we're going to invite you, one of our volunteers, who's been one of our dear translators, Maria, translated this song, Standing Stone, into Spanish. And so what we're going to do, we're going to sing it through twice in English, and then Lynn and Andrea are going to sing it in Spanish and then ask you to sing it back. And then as we continue, you can sing it in either language, whatever language you would like, okay? So we'll start together in English. I will be